Took a lot of work, but it's going to look beautiful. Yeah.
I like how I chime in when I don't have a microphone. The question. Hardest parts of film, that's right. It was very cold. I don't like shooting in the cold, and Rosalie's never supposed to feel cold, so they love to put me in little tiny, Jackson, you can relate, right? In your tiny little outfits that you... You know, we love making these movies, so it's hard to pick something. I mean, I guess the contacts are pretty rough. I can say that now that we're done. Yeah, that was pretty rough. And changing wigs all the time, yeah, that's the hair evolution. But for the most part, you know, it's always such a pleasure. So. And thank you guys for coming. I didn't get to say that. Thank you.
Okay, the next question is from Christina and Anna. What is your favorite scene from the Twilight movies and why?
Me first this time? No, you. I love the first movie. I mean, I love all the movies, but I think the original just, you know, it holds a special place in my heart. We were all young and we didn't know each other, and we were in Portland, which is like a beautiful music city, and so I loved that experience. And the baseball scene for me, that was the very first scene we shot, wasn't it? Yeah, okay. That was the first scene, and it was like a 3-week long, I mean, it was really a big, it was a whole big production. So I loved that.
I really loved filming the scene in Eclipse where Jasper is on the horse and getting to be in the Civil War regalia. I grew up. Actually, I learned how to ride in Norway. I lived in Norway for 4 years. And I learned how to ride horses there, and I've loved riding since. And so that was really fun for me in Eclipse. Yeah.
When I say I ride horses, nobody screams for me. Only because there's something about a man saying he always gets a big... I'm sure that's crazy about you.
We love you so much. It's okay.
Okay, guys, so why did you choose to audition for the parts in Twilight? Why? Yeah, why did you audition?
Yeah, well, I read the book, and I thought it was really interesting to have a vampire movie without teeth. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. But when I talked to Catherine Hardwick, our first director, she talked to me about Jasper and about his backstory, about where he came from, and you know, we're both Texas boys, so I figured I could relate. Are you a Texas boy? No. So that's a large part, and you know, we had no idea when we went into filming that it would be something this amazing, and get to see all these wonderful people around the world, and it's so endearing and it's so wonderful and inspiring to be part of something and to be invited into your home. So thank you.
Why did you audition?
Do you guys know Catherine Hardwick? So for those of you who don't, she directed the first film, and I've worked with her on a number of other movies. We made 13 together. Which was that's really cool. And then we also made another movie called Lords of Dogtown together. And then she called me, and I was actually in a really interesting place in my life. Let me tell you guys. I was working in a clothing store, going to school. This is a true story. I was 19 years old. My brother, who's a year older than me, said to me, he was like, you know, I just don't feel like, whatever. he said. I don't feel like you really understand, you know, the value of money and what it's like to work a real job. And I started acting when I was just a kid, and I guess there's part of me that's always been a little bit envious of the path that he chose. You know, he got to like go to school wherever he wanted and travel abroad, and he was teaching, you know, learning and then teaching other languages in other countries, and I always loved that he just had that freedom. And so I decided to move myself to Hawaii when I was 19 years old. And it took me like 3 months to get a job because no one would hire me. It's like they didn't care that I was an actress, and I was just begging, like, please give me $8 an hour. I just want a job. And Catherine called me and said, you know, I have this movie that I'm doing, and it's based on these books. And I've never told this story, so sorry, it's not very polished. But anyway, I decided to go to meet with the producers, and that's how that happened.
Thank you very much. In what way has your life changed since the beginning of the movies? And how has it changed your everyday life?
Well, it's been 5 years now that we've been doing these films, and I think we all know in 5 years' time, a lot changes. Whether it's professional, whether it's personal, we all grow, we learn every day, and we get to experience the world. Traveling with these films has been a pleasure. It's getting to, you know, come here to Denmark and to Copenhagen to see you guys and get the premiere of the film. That's something 6 years ago I wasn't doing, so that's changed. That's fantastic. I love it. I wouldn't change that for the world. And it's been a wonderful experience. You know, getting to come here and you know, pose for pictures with you and sign and just. Thank you, honestly. Thank you for, you know, letting us play these characters, and thank you for watching these movies and coming out to the theater and supporting these films, because the Twilight movies are all about the audience. It's all about you guys, and it's about your love, it's about your dedication, because these films are about love, and it's something that we all want, right?
So Nikki, do you feel like it's changed your life?
Yeah, yes. I always want to say no, because that question to me means, has it changed who I am or the things that I do? And I think my everyday life, for the most part, has still remained the same, because I've been very conscious of that, you know, all along, along the way. And I think if anything, maybe people treat you a little different. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but definitely it's circumstantial, but I feel like, my family's who I surround myself with, and my friends, and everything is pretty much the same. There are some really wonderful things that have come along with this movie, but it feels very temporary. These movies are ending, and so I feel like while we're associated with them, we get to travel and we get to meet you guys, and hopefully you'll still come to some other stuff that we do after this, but if not, we love you anyways. But I don't know really what's changed. I'm turning 25. Oh my God. And I was 19 when we started, so I've definitely changed a lot. I've grown a lot, but I don't know, like what Jackson said, I don't know, what I can attribute to the film or what's just inevitable growth.
So the next question is from Frida and Emma, and it's for you, Jackson. How does it feel like being a dad?
It is the absolute greatest feeling in the world. When we started doing the press last year, Sheila and I found out we were pregnant, and we were going to be expecting a beautiful little baby. And it was just, I've been wanting to be a father for a long time. I used to teach kids theater back in Texas, and it's just such a wonderful experience, having a baby and watching them learn every day. It's when he was first born and we put him on his stomach for tummy time, and he would just raise his head, he'd be like, and now he's discovered how to turn over from his back onto his belly, and he gets so surprised, he's like, and he's discovering his hands like some college student on LSD. He's just looking at them like, whoa, what is this? Look what I can do. And it's so wonderful. It's just an incredible experience watching this baby grow. And I've learned a lot about love, and it's... I don't know what else to say. It's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you.
So Nikki, the next one is for you, and it's from Sandra. You co-wrote on the screenplay and starred in the much acclaimed 13, like we talked about before. How was it working on a movie like 13? How was that different from working on Twilight?
Surprisingly similar, actually, in one way, and that is the amount of chaos on set. People running around. When you're making an independent film, there's a lack of money, and it stresses everybody out, and it's really hectic, and you never know if you're going to have enough time to shoot what you want to shoot. And when you're making Twilight, it's kind of the same thing. We never know if we're going to have enough time to shoot what we need to shoot, because there's rain, there's sun, I mean, everything is weather dependent. I don't know if you guys know this, but regardless of, I know we're not in the movies as much as some of the other characters, but we're still on set all day, every day, in our hair and makeup. We get ready at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then we sit in our wigs and our contacts for 12 hours, because you don't know what's going to happen with the weather, and if the weather changes, you have to switch to plan B. So it's very overwhelming. And, you know, it's the same with 13. It was a very overwhelming experience. We shot that movie in 25 days for $1 million, and we wrote it in December, and we were filming by June. And that is not very...
Is it true that you wrote the screenplay in only 6 days?
That is true.
Yeah.
That's true. It was a long time ago now. It's a long time ago, but I know that it was over my winter break, my school break for Christmas, so it was under a week for sure. Yeah. Can you believe it? I wonder if I'm ever going to do anything that great again.
I'm sure
it's
you
like
will.
a once-in-a-career kind of thing, you know? That movie holds such a special place in my heart. A lot of challenges with that. You know, I was a kid, and I really put my family's life out there. And, you know, when you're young, you don't think about those things. You don't think about the repercussions and what that maybe did to my family and how it affected them. And I wasn't being inconsiderate. I just was totally unaware. And so the repercussions that came later, I think, were greater than I knew how to deal with. But I still loved that movie, and I wouldn't take it back if I had the chance. I would do it again. And I just have to say, his baby is my favorite thing on the planet. I felt left out of that question, because I just want to say I love him so much too.
This is Monroe's godmother right here. We got his godfather over there as well, Paul McDonald.
So, what is the most memorable moment from the time you've worked on the Twilight saga? So, like one moment that you remember in particular. And it's from Amy.
One moment.
Maybe at the airport in Portland.
Yeah. Well, there was the first time. Let me go back in time now. I remember when we were about to fly off to go to Portland, Oregon, where we filmed the first movie, Twilight. I was waiting in the airport, and I got there an hour early, and I had my guitar with me, and I had my cowboy hat, and I kind of tipped it over my eyes, and I fell asleep in the chairs, kicked my legs back, and then they're boarding, and I kind of woke up, and I was groggy, and I didn't know what was going on. So I get in line to get on the plane, and I've got my guitar, and then the stewardess says, "Sir, you can't bring that on board." And I'm just kind of like, "No, yeah, I can. I just put it in my hand, and I walk, and I put it on the plane. It's pretty simple." And she said, "No, it doesn't fit." And I was like, "I've been on board planes like this before, and I've always brought my guitar. It's never been an issue." And she's like, "I'm sorry, we're going to have to check it." And I just woke up, and I'm so confused. And then this beautiful young lady from behind me in line steps forward, and she's like, "Excuse me, ma'am, no, he's going to bring that guitar on that plane." And I turn around, and there's this young lady, Nikki Reed, and she stuck up for me without even knowing who I was. Just for all she knew, I was just some random guy with a guitar that I was in love with, and I wasn't going to leave behind, and I wasn't going to check. And she was like, no, he's going to bring that guitar on board. And she listened to this one.
I was working on Rosalie. We were just starting out, and I knew you weren't some random guy, by the way. I was like, cowboy hat, super handsome. He's definitely an actor. He's in this movie.
And you don't say no to Rosalie. Right. So the saga is ending now. How do you feel about that?
You know, in a lot of ways, it doesn't feel like an ending. It feels like a new beginning. Twilight, it means that time in the evening when there's no sun against the sky, yet there's a certain light in the air. But it also refers to the time in the morning, right before the sun rises, and everything is illuminated in this beautiful, ethereal light. And that's what this feels like in a lot of ways. It feels like there's a new day ahead of us, and it's been such an honor, getting a chance to play these characters. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I really wouldn't. I got to meet really good friends. I got to work with some incredible actors, some incredible directors, and meet you guys. You're the greatest fans in the world, hands down. Thank you.
Nikki, how do you feel about it?
I feel really sad about it. I think, you sign on to something and you know that it's going to come to an end. Obviously, we didn't think these movies would go on forever. I mean, we didn't even think we would make it to number 2. So, 5 years later, I mean, it's hard to grieve the end of something that has brought so much happiness to my life. But it's strange to think that there won't be another one, and it's just starting to set in, I feel like, in theory, the end coming doesn't affect me because it's like, oh yeah, that thing where it's going to be over and that'll be fine. But, the last premiere was yesterday, and I found myself, I was totally crying. Totally crying. Actually, this is funny. I thought it was my last interview. Someone tricked me and they said, this is your last interview. So my eyes started welling up and I could feel the lump in my throat going, and I was like, no, I'm not ready for this. Just head right now, I'm just not ready. And then I finished and I looked down the line and there was still an entire line of journalists waiting for me. So I don't know what my point was. I was trying to be entertaining. Jackson does a much better job with that. Thank you. But I do feel very sad about this coming to an end. You guys you've made this such a special experience, and I've never felt as close to an audience as I do to you guys, and universally this movie has connected people, and it's just like, wow, I can't believe we're a part of this. So thank you guys for giving us this experience.
And thank you guys. Jackson and Nikki, that's all. Thank you so much for coming here today.
Nikki's going to take a picture, so everybody smile. All right.
1, 2, 3. Wait.
All right. Everybody put their hands up for Nikki, please. This is her camera. All right. Here we go. Keep going. Keep going. Come on. This is the last time. This is the last movie. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Og til jer vil jeg bare sige rigtig god fornøjelse. Okay.